wasn't on our side anymore, that we're going to be lucky if we got out of here alive. I looked at my guys and I says, all right guys, if that one can go, this one can go. It's time for us to get out of here.
28 minutes later, the North Tower began to fall. Those who couldn't get out seemed to face certain death. Yet 14 people trapped in one of the stairways lived to tell the tale. They are unique eyewitnesses to the collapse of the Twin Towers from the inside.
You could actually hear the floors hitting one another. Boom, 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 boom. And I remember thinking to myself, I said, oh shit, this is it, we didn't make it.
I rolled to a corner and basically went into a fetal position and just waited for the end.
I thought I was going to be dead in a few seconds. And I remember feeling, I hope, you know, I hope this is fast.
I pretty much saw my funeral. I saw everybody's at the wake and my parents and family there.
2,749 people, including 343 firefighters, died in the tragedy of 9/11. Yet amazingly, 14 people who were inside the North Tower when it fell managed to survive. This is their story. The miracle of Stairway B. As dawn broke on the morning of September 11th, 2001, it seemed just like any other day in New York. Commuters made their way to work at the World Trade Center in Manhattan. Then, at 8:45 a.m., there was news of an extraordinary incident. At his firehouse on East 29th Street, Lieutenant Mickey Cross heard the first reports coming in on the fire department radio.
I'm listening to a transmission from a chief, and he was downtown, and he was at a gas leak or something very routine, and he was calling to the fire department dispatcher that he was confirming that an aircraft had hit the World Trade Center.
The plane hit the North Tower between the 93rd and the 99th floors. Josephine Harris was working on the 73rd floor. She would be one of the 14 people to survive.
The building just began to rock. And I kept saying, why won't it stop? Why won't it stop?
Among the first firefighters to respond to the emergency at the World Trade Center was another of the survivors, Lieutenant Jim McGlynn of Engine 39.
My girlfriend Kathleen works in that area, so before we left I called and left a message on her voicemail at work that there was a plane that hit the Trade Center, that it was probably terrorism, and to stay away from that area.
Huge fires were engulfing the top of the North Tower. On the 73rd floor, a bewildered Josephine Harris was trying to remember her evacuation drill.
Always take your pocketbook. And I remember that. You got your keys, you got your money. So, I always have the bag, and I'm letting go of my pocketbook. And then I start down the stairs. But that's when I'm thinking, what's going on?
Within 15 minutes, 235 firefighters were called out to the disaster area. One of the units to arrive was Ladder 6, led by Captain Jay Jonas. Their rescue of Josephine would play a vital role in their own survival.
It put a knot in your stomach, you know, going across, seeing that. Something that you never thought you'd see. You know, you saw the North Tower, the World Trade Center, the top 20 floors in flames.
When Lieutenant Jim McGlynn and his unit arrived at the scene, the tragedy was all too real. One of the first hazards they faced was the bodies of jumpers crashing to the ground.
I saw people jumping. You heard them hitting the pavement. And you realized the utter desperation that these people must be going through in order to jump to their death.
9:03 a.m. A second plane crashed into the South Tower. A major disaster turned into a catastrophe. Mickey Cross and his unit had just got there. he would be another of the miraculous survivors.
We got showered with debris. We were getting these pieces of material were coming down flaming. I remember seeing that. It looked like, it reminded me like meteorites or meteors or something. We all got off, we got our equipment, and I kind of huddled everybody together. We had it kind of like a little pep rally, pep talk, something. I wanted to say something to the guys. I was nervous, you know, I admit it, but I think that helped me to come to center myself, you know.
9:10 a.m. More fire units were arriving. A command post had been set up in the lobby of the North Tower, where the fire chiefs directed operations. Jay Jonas was one of those given his assignment by Chief Hayden.
As they came in and we gave them their assignments, you could almost look in their eye and realize that they themselves knew that this was going to be very risky and very difficult for all of them.
I gave them a salute, and I walked over to where my firemen were waiting for me. And I walked over to them and I said, all right, here's the deal. That's a raw deal, but this is what we have.
Chief Jonas came back over, and I'll never forget these words. He just said, boys, they're trying to kill us. Let's go. And you know, you really don't have a choice. You know, you that's what we get paid to do. You go.
New York's firefighters were facing the biggest and most treacherous high-rise fire in history. Nothing could have prepared men like Jim McGlynn for a disaster on this scale.
Every fire has its challenges. Every fire is a little bit different from the other. But this was totally uncharted water. Knowing that this fire was being fueled by jet fuel, you knew that you were going to have to improvise and deal with it when you got up there.
With the elevator shafts destroyed, just getting up to the 90th floor was a daunting prospect in itself. James Eftimiardis was one of Jim McGlynn's men.
At that moment, I was thinking, God, we have to walk up 90 flights of stairs with all our gear and get up there. I was supposed to go home 6 o'clock that night, and I knew that wasn't happening.
9:25 a.m. The fires in the North Tower are blazing out of control. By this time, Josephine Harris has made it down to the 60th floor. She suffered no injuries from the explosion, but was slowed down by an old injury to her leg.
Around the 60th floor, I looked at the number, and it's G, 60. And I stopped. I told myself, don't look at the number of floors anymore. And I didn't, and I kept going.
By now, the fires, fed by jet fuel, were consuming the upper floors of both towers. In the South Tower, the temperature rose to 1,300 degrees Fahrenheit, causing the steel framework supporting it to buckle. But the firefighters were unaware how close the towers were to collapsing.
It took us about an hour to get to the 31st floor. And we were regrouping there, and at that time, the building shook so violently that you couldn't stand